Hopefully, by watching this show, you don't just see beauty of tourism, but you can also realize that we live side by side with other creators. See you on other episode only on the Travel Note.
Only on the Travel Note.
Indonesia ini adalah negara yang kaya, bukan hanya keindahan alamnya, tapi juga kearifan lokalnya.
Menurut saya, sudah saatnya kita untuk saling berkolaborasi. Pemerintah, entitas masyarakat, dan seluruh stakeholder itu bareng-bareng memikirkan keberlanjutan dari tempat tinggal yang kita huni. Mungkin mau menekankan pentingnya hidup untuk pembangunan berkelanjutan.
Di sini saya pikir, wah ternyata kami bisa merasa nyaman dengan hunian tradisional itu yang tidak perlu AC.
Sebenarnya karena kita di negara tropis gitu ya, maka rumah ini pasti otomatis arsitekturnya juga tropis gitu ya.
Inilah pasangan hidup saya.
Oh ini kan jodohku gitu.
Ya mungkin ya.
A lot of love there, warmth, safety, dignity, that's what I call home.
Hari begini lah, enak tak enak pun dah terlanjur.
Kau sebut ayam ya, semua kenal.
Nanti akan saya buktikan bahwa saya akan bisa lebih dari kamu.
Di Singkau yang pertama kali lempar mie, itu papa saya.
Dulu resep ini dari nenek. Nenek turun kasih bapak, bapakku turun kasih saya. Nanti saya turun kasih anaknya.
Saya, Kepala Staf Angkatan Laut, Laksamana TNI Muhammad Ali, beserta segenap keluarga besar TNI Angkatan Laut, mengucapkan selamat hari ulang tahun keempat Sea Today. Semoga Sea Today selalu konsisten dalam membuat konten berkualitas dan menyuarakan perspektif Indonesia di kancah dunia. Expanding horizon, inspiring more, see Indonesia, see the world, Sea Today.
Back to Seymour Show, and we have news from around the world. Now, the UN Peacekeeping Force, or UNIFIL, remains on guard amid fierce fighting between Israel and Hezbollah. Let's take a look at their struggles, including stories from an Indonesian peacekeeper in the field.
UN peacekeepers stationed in Lebanon recount the challenges they face amid rising tensions in the region and attacks on their personnel.
Suddenly, we saw and we heard an explosion. It came towards the paddy area, and we saw a huge blast happening with a black smoke. Then we ran inside. This is my office, and we ran inside the office. And within few seconds, like the second explosion happened. Then two of my troops got injured when they were doing the duty at OP6. They were at the outside of the OP at that time, and they got injured due to the explosion at that time. Then I closed the gate, and we evacuated them to the hospital within 2 to 3 minutes time.
Besides the recent Israeli attacks on troops, they are also worried about limited movement, lack of resources, and further escalation in the country. Even communication has become difficult. Indonesian UNIFIL peacekeeper Sergeant Winda Anggita Cahyani said that there's no adequate internet access because the building where she lives was hit by Israeli airstrikes. She is also concerned about the rising shortage of water and food.
The internet is also off since that the building which provides our accommodation internet is just was hit by the airstrike, and also the limitation of a movement. It really give a very big impact for us since that here there's a lack of water, lack of food. So if there is a store which is open, it can causes a kind of panic buying or something.
The current war has also impacted the mental health of peacekeepers, as many feel uncertain and anxious about their future.
Presently,
Each peacekeeper around is anxious due to the uncertainty of the situation here. We all are doing everything to keep ourselves motivated.
The workload of peacekeepers has doubled because of the war. UNIFIL medical staff must also treat civilians in surrounding areas.
Now, Indonesia has expressed its desires to join the BRICS, an influential group of emerging economies.
Foreign Minister Sugiono delivered a message on behalf of President Prabowo on Indonesia's interest in joining BRICS. He also highlighted the need for sustainable developments and also called for reforms in global institutions to better represent developing nations.
The foreign minister outlined Indonesia's vision of BRICS as a platform for global South nations to strengthen cooperation and address shared challenges.
He also reaffirmed Indonesia's commitment to continue participating in other key international meetings, such as the upcoming G20 summit in Brazil and the G7 foreign ministers meeting in Italy. In a speech, Foreign Minister Sugiono emphasized the importance of addressing ongoing crises in Palestine and Lebanon and called for a ceasefire and international accountability.
Moving on to the next story, newly inaugurated Indonesia President Prabowo Subianto and also his cabinet ministers started a retreat, a military academy in central Java on Friday.
They attended the retreat wearing army camouflage hats and combat boots. The event itself takes place at the Indonesian National Military Academy in Magelang.
Ministers and their deputies flew to central Java in an Indonesian Air Force C-130 Hercules transport plane on Thursday.
According to a written statement from Prabowo's media team, the group was requested to wake up at 4 a.m. to do sports and take part in marching exercises. The president also discussed several topics with his cabinet, including the focus and commitment of each ministry as well as the institution. He also assessed their plans to work toward eradicating poverty, fighting corruption, as well as achieving food and energy self-sufficiency.
The 73-year-old said in his opening remarks on Friday that he does not intend to form a military cabinet. Now, however, he wanted to emphasize the militaristic discipline and can't instill loyalty to the state.
Prabowo Subianto is not the first Indonesian president with a military background. Suharto and the country's sixth president, Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, were also retired army generals who ended up taking the presidential mantle. However, the unconventional retreat was the first of its kind under Prabowo's leadership.
Saya tidak bermaksud membuat Anda militer bukan itu. Benar-benar saudara tidak sedia terlalu setia pada bangsa dan negara Indonesia. Saya
King Charles III and also Queen Camilla welcomed state leaders during a gala dinner at the Commonwealth Summit in Samoa on Friday.
The king attended his first Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, or CHOGM, and is expected to address the gathering.
Despite the warm welcome, the king's presence is likely to prompt uneasy questions about the role of the British Crown in the history and aspirations of its former territories.
Samoan Prime Minister Fiame Naomi Mataafa is hosting the summit. Now, he is now expected to conclude the event with a strong statement on climate change ahead of the UN Climate Summit in November.
King Charles, who is battling cancer, and his wife, Queen Consort Camilla, will return to Britain on Saturday after visiting Samoa and Australia.
4 astronauts returned to Earth on Friday after a troubled Boeing capsule and Hurricane Milton extended their space station tenure for nearly 8 months.
The SpaceX capsule, which carried the crew, parachuted before dawn into the Gulf of Mexico, just off the Florida coast. Now, this took place after it undocked from the International Space Station earlier in the week.
However, 3 Americans and 1 Russian on board should have been back 2 months earlier.
Their homecoming was stalled by problems with Boeing's new Starliner astronaut capsule, which came back empty in September due to safety concerns. Afterwards, Hurricane Milton interfered and brought about another 2 weeks of high winds and rough seas.
SpaceX launched NASA astronauts Matthew Dominic, Michael Barrett, and Jeanette Epps, as well as Russian cosmonaut Alexander Grebenkin in March. Barrett is the only space veteran going into the mission and acknowledged that support teams back home had to replan, retool, and redo everything.
They were replaced by 2 Starliner test pilots, Butch Wilmore and also Suni Williams, whose mission went from 8 days to 8 months. They were also accompanied by 2 astronauts who arrived 4 weeks ago. Now, the quartet will remain in space until February.
You can see SpaceX's recovery ship and team have been waiting for Dragon splashdown.
All right, guys, after a quick break, we'll set to have Satya Pramesi to bring some sport updates for you guys this very Saturday. So, Messi, what do you have for us today?
Thank you very much, Doc. We have updates from the world of football, basketball, motorsports, and more, so stay tuned. When we right back, we'll be right back, I should say, with the first sports updates of the weekend.
Hello, citizens. I'm Pahala Mansuri. Happy 4th anniversary to See Today. May your commitment to quality content and Indonesia's global perspective continue to inspire and enlighten all of us. Here's to many more years of expanding horizons and seeing the world through the eyes of Indonesia. See Indonesia, see the world, see today.
As Indonesian, we love to eat big breakfast, so let's find out. I want to know what it's like. This one is special. My God, the sambal is very hot.
teman-teman. Di episode sebelumnya kita telah mengenal dan mempelajari beragam tari tradisi. Salah satu unsur utama dari tarian adalah gerak. Di episode ini teman-teman akan saya ajak untuk mempelajari beragam gerak yang ada dalam tari tradisi. Nanti teman-teman akan tahu bahwa setiap gerakan dalam tari tradisi mengandung banyak makna dan filosofi. Yuk kita simak.
Teman-teman, tentang ragam gerak tari tradisi di Bali tentunya kaya sekali karena koreografinya tentunya bermacam-macam. Untuk setiap tari akan berbeda. Di tari sakral misalnya atau tari wali tentunya dia sederhana. Dia tidak akan sekaya tari pertunjukan dalam hal koreografi. Misalnya kalau kita bicara tentang tari rejang. Tari rejang sebagai tari sederhana yang ditarikan oleh anak kecil ya atau bisa juga ibu-ibu yang sudah tua, itu tentunya tidak mengambil tenaga yang terlalu banyak. Dan beragam gerak sederhana itu misalnya mengayunkan selendang seperti ini, itu seperti seakan-akan membersihkan tanah, karena para penari rejang itu dia berbaris dalam sebuah barisan panjang, lalu berkelok-kelok di dalam halaman pura dengan niat membersihkan area itu untuk dipersiapkan bagi upacara agama yang akan berlangsung. Jika tari sakralnya berupa tari baris yang juga ditarikan beramai-ramai, dan para penari baris upacara itu tentunya tidak semuanya penari. Mereka datang dari berbagai kalangan, bisa mereka pegawai negeri atau mahasiswa atau petani, dan mereka semua menarikan baris upacara itu bersama-sama dengan maksud memuja yang kuasa. Kalau kita bicara tentang tari tenun misalnya yang lebih tua dan lebih klasik, dia menggambarkan